Hi there, welcome to part 2 of our sidebar. I'm here with Christian. We're talking about BBCSO. We're talking about the different editions. We're going to go into core and look at the differences between the 3 editions. If you haven't already watched part 1 on Christian's channel, head over there and watch that as well, linked below.
Also linked below is a page on the Spitfire site that has specifications, comparison charts, alongside the amazing promo prices that we've returned the original Spitfire SO Pro to and the celebratory launch price of Core.
So,
Core, blimey, Governor. Sorry, that's a terrible joke.
So you'll have seen, as I was flipping around here, that there is this middle, rather lovely grey version.
Absolutely gorgeous.
That sits between the black Pro version and the white Discover version. The best way to start with this is just to have a quick flick down the list of instruments. Now you can see that you have a lot more stuff in here than you have in Discover, but there are a few instruments that are missing from Pro, and those will be things like the leaders. In Pro you get the leader of each of the string sections, and you also get a few kind of extended range type of instruments like the kind of contrabassoon and things like that. So a few of those things aren't in Core. Core is everything that you need to make these incredibly detailed, incredible sounding, broadcast quality compositions. Christian, we decided we would make something that kind of fitted into this middle slot. And again, it's about trying to make it more accessible to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
A couple of small compromises. So as I said, the instrument list is slightly smaller, but there are all the same, for every instrument you've got in there, it has all the same articulations as it has in Pro. And it has a single mix, and that is Jake's main kind of mix from the Pro edition.
Which has been very popular from the Pro edition, I believe.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of people who basically haven't stepped outside of that mix. They're literally just everything they do is in the mix 1.
And that's what gave us the confidence to go with that. But I think it's also worth mentioning that it's the same number of round robins and dynamic layers depending on what articulation and stuff. So theoretically, if you're using the same instruments and the same mix in Pro and Core, they will sound identical.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly the same.
And naturally, we have the mode switching between the 3 of these. I think that one of the great applications of mode switching within the context of Core and Pro is between composers and maybe their assistants.
A similar side direction is composers working with their mix engineers, especially in times like this when we are all of us working remotely, being able to kind of work on something in Core on a reduced setup maybe, and then passing that over to a mix engineer who has the Pro edition, who can then delve into the microphones and really just fine-tune the sounds to make it sound absolutely great.
I finished this Dance Macabre trailer. It felt almost queer sending the Logic file to Jake. Really, I mean, it's just like that's it. And there's a bit of some timing stuff that he might want to get into and fix, how engineers do and stuff like that. So something that I've done in the past is, say, work on a massive multi-episodic series. And, I would simply, in these days, I would make the decision, we're going to do this, the orchestral elements are going to be done on the BBC. And if people didn't have Pro, I'd either fork out for a Core copy for them. Core will have everything you need. Let's not write for the contrabass clarinets on this one. Core is an incredible saving in footprint as well, is it not, compared to Pro?
Yeah, I think it's under 25 gigabytes. It's round about there. It's in the low 20s. That's obviously a massive drop from the 650-ish, whatever the Pro edition is. And yes, if you don't need access to all of the microphone mixes and all that kind of stuff, and you're just looking for a kind of core orchestral package that sounds incredible.
Here's where you start, share, collaborate, and off you go. The other blocker we've mentioned is naturally the price of BBC Pro. It's a pro end piece of kit. This is broadcast standard, but is just a lot more affordable, is it not?
It is, yeah. So the RRP or the MSRP is £399. One of the amazing things that we haven't mentioned yet is the difference in the sound between the BBC Symphony Orchestra and all of our other libraries are recorded in a way where the same way that we record film and TV sessions, which is you get an orchestral contractor, and we have an incredible contractor, Hilary Skews, and she will organise for us. You'll say, I need 16 first violins. You might say, I need 8 trumpets, or whatever kind of size of band you get. And those are drawn from these incredible session musicians that are all around London and here in the UK. And a lot of these musicians actually play in the orchestras as well. So I remember one session we were recording a viola section, and we had 3 section leaders from London orchestras among the 12 people sat playing viola for us. And it's quite staggering. So there are some musicians in the BBCSO who play on these kind of film sessions and TV sessions. But when you have the orchestra themselves, because they've been playing together so long, and there's such a very clearly defined style of orchestral playing, the sound is very different. The word that we use is cohesive, and we noticed it from the very first day we started recording. Within the string sections, for example, it's a very different style of blending, and the section will be very definitely led from the front, and everybody works to blend in to that lead, and you hear it, and lots of people have noticed that and commented on it.
Absolutely. I think the room is also incredible because it has the duplication of Air Studios in the sense of that massive early reflection. So you've got a lot of bottom end, but it's a lot more controllable and defined because it doesn't have the massive reverberation tail, which is not suitable for all. And I think that something that a lot of people are noticing is the better you orchestrate in BBCSO, the better it sounds. It really does work when you use it like a symphony orchestra. For people who have bought BBCSO Pro, are they going to get a copy of Core or Discover? Does it work like that? Do they have to download the samples again?
Yes. This is just going out as an update. So basically, if you have Pro, then you will have Core and Discover as well. Now, that's great because not only because now you have access to the mode switching technology and all that kind of stuff, but also because you can log in with your account on your laptop, for example, and just download Discover. Or if you've got reasonable amount of space on your hard drive, maybe you'll download Core so that you can use that on the go. Mm-hmm. And then when you've finished that session, you literally just open it up, switch all of the instances to Pro, and you have access to all of the features in Pro as well.
Does that mean they have to download the whole of Pro again?
No, you can just pick the sections that you want to download. So when you go in the downloader, you click through to BBC Symphony Orchestra. It's a single plugin. That's the beauty of it. And then you choose which sections to install. It's incredibly simple.
Now, something you and I have been doing how long have we been playing with YouTube for? Maybe 5-6 years, maybe 7 years. We've taken great pleasure out of sharing our experience, and by sharing our experiences and showing how we do things, people will comment and suggest that we do it differently, and we learn a lot back. But one of the things we haven't really been able to do is share the stuff that we're working on. Because of this issue with basically sample libraries up to now being like kit cars. And so we're hoping to, and you have been, and I'm in the process of making just loads of content, including templates, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also means that, if we've maybe put something out and it's a guide to how the viola part, I'm really on a viola tip today, how the viola part works in Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition or something like that, then, and let's say we've done the session using the Pro Edition, somebody who has the Discover Edition can literally just open up the session and it will open up and give them the opportunity to hear and experiment as well.
I don't really read music. I can follow a score, and every time I follow a score, and it's usually one of the planets, Holst, I learn so much about orchestration and about the orchestra. I probably read the piano roll a lot easier than I do scores, and I think that was one of our hopes, is that people can just delve in and fiddle around and transpose and transcribe from one section to another.
There are different ways of looking at music, and let's say you've just played something in and you want to just tighten something slightly, went quite a little bit wrong, or you held a note too, you're not going to go into the score editor to try and fix that. You're going to use the piano roll. The piano roll is incredibly strong for certain things. But equally, I hope that there'll be an opportunity that people will try who don't read at all. And I know you're extremely self-effacing, but you can read music.
I still have to say, get buggered down Fulham Airport.
But there's certainly, I find it quite hard to read a full score. I'm slowly getting better at reading the viola clef, but the tenor clef I still have to try and work out where I am. All of these kind of things, being able to open up this music and be able to, in your DAW, look at it in a score view, look at it in the piano roll view, maybe even follow a score. I've got a bunch of scores up in the corner of bookshelf of my studio, which I do love to get out and look at stuff on the page. All of these things give you insight into how orchestral music is constructed. And it's a lifelong learning process.
Well, the great thing about even looking in score view is you can then move it and click on it and hear what it sounds like and all of that kind of stuff, which is really exciting.
Exactly, yeah.
So not only are we going to be making a lot of content and really looking forward to doing that, but also we are very active in promoting and supporting anyone who wants to make content to support this online. We have a place called The Page, which is where we aggregate all of the stuff that people, or as much as we can find, that people are making for this project. And there's a handle, #OneOrchestra. And we're just really looking forward to seeing what people do with this. And the thing I love about music technology and new advances is that we're a bunch of creative sods, and we always find ways of using it wrong. So that's something I'm really looking forward to as well, is people who wouldn't normally think that an orchestra is what they need, just getting their hands on it and messing around with it.
The rules are all there to be broken. It's great to know the rules, and you can pick that stuff up. You don't have to go to music college. If you are lucky enough to have been to music college, then I salute you, and that's a wonderful life experience and an ability to learn intensely and quickly. It's amazing. I'm not telling people not to go to music college, but you don't have to have gone to music college to start to pick this stuff up. It's incredibly easy to learn this stuff yourself, and there's so much stuff on YouTube as well. All kinds of tutorials, people talking about orchestration, people talking about instruments, their ranges, and what they sound like. We've got some incredible things going on at the moment with the BBCSO, with the stories line of videos, where we've got some of the instrumentalists talking about the instruments and giving you an insight into those instruments. That's essential viewing. But what I didn't get the opportunity to do, which you do if you're at music college, is to sit with other instrumentalists and say, just tell me about the bassoon. I want to know what, the kind of secrets of the bassoon. And that is, that's half of orchestration, is just understanding all that stuff and then being able to apply that to your own music. But like I say, it's like a giant juggling, sitting to write a piece of orchestral music is like a kind of incredible juggling game where you suddenly remember something. Oh yeah, I remember doing that thing with the trombones would sound really good. I saw that in this piece over here. I'm going to try and incorporate that into this piece. It's like being a chef.
There are recipe books that you can follow, but you can also improvise. My biggest thing is to say to anyone who's interested is there's simply nothing to be afraid of. The minute you start delving... Yesterday, I did a flute that was 2 octaves above a bassoon and went, oh, I've heard that sound so often. It's its own kind of thing. So you're always discovering, and even the greats amongst us, your John Williamses, they learn something every day. That's the brilliant thing about actually all of the collaborations I've worked on. It doesn't matter where you are in the kind of pecking order. It doesn't matter how old you are. Everyone learns off everyone else. Whether you be someone with huge amounts of experience, there'll always be some young whippersnapper who'll come in and you'll go, how did you do that? And or that's a clever orchestration idea and stuff. And that's what's so fun about having this shared oneness is that we can all kind of learn together. And I think that's one of the greatest pleasures of Spitfire Audio for me, Paul, has been to see actually that we're not competitors, that we're all in this together, really, that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Everyone who makes music does it the way they do because of the hundreds, if not thousands of years of people banging on drums and blowing through reeds and stuff.
And also, we are steeped in orchestral music. There's orchestral music in all of the, well, not all, but in many of the films that we watch, the TV series, the video games that we play. It is literally all around us. And, Hans Zimmer said, of all the terrible things that you can say about Hollywood, and all of them are true, the one redeeming quality that Hollywood has is it is the world's largest commissioner of orchestral music. The recording, at the beginning of recording, a recording was a memorial, a memento of your live performance. So you went to see the live performance. That was the real thing. And so you could then at home listen to the recording, which was horrendous quality, kind of like that. And that has entirely flipped on its head. And so now, the recording is the thing that most people focus on, and a live performance is a kind of curiosity. It's a memento of the recording. People will have their favorite recording of, Brahms's Third or whatever, and then they'll go back, they'll go to see a performance of it in concert. It's almost like a kind of curiosity, being able to see that. And this is, it's absolutely vital that we keep these orchestras alive. It really is. In a sense, it's amazing that we have access to all of these, not only a recording of every piece that you could possibly imagine, but also multiple recordings of them, so you can hear how different orchestras and different conductors interpret them. But then, those are great learning tools, but there is nothing like a real orchestra. And so, thank goodness that Hollywood exists, because all over the world, it's in Eastern Europe, in London, in LA, in New Zealand, there are all of these different orchestras that are being supported indirectly or directly by the creation of, modern entertainment, video games, films.
Before, it was pretty much shut off. If you weren't party to certain forms of knowledge and possibly a certain background, it would simply be an impossibility. I think that maybe both of us would not have worked with orchestras if we'd come into the business maybe 20, 25 years earlier. So we see these plugins not only being an interface with greater understanding of orchestras, but actually a greater interface between musicians and composers.
It's vital.
One sobering thought is I'm friends with someone who teaches at a music college, and he said that there's a real problem with the bursaries and the scholarships that basic young people have. And that is that, yes, whilst their educations are being, covered to a certain degree, that they can't actually afford a bus ticket to school. And often there's a bit of a fall off. And I think that it's safe to say that certainly, particularly with music education, that is in crisis. And I think that's bad for humankind. I know you feel very strongly about this.
Yeah, I mean, I remember listening in the 80s on the news to Sir Simon Rattle talking about the crisis in music education, even back then. And he was talking about UK schools and the underfunding by the government of music education. And he was demonstrating even then that we had this really clear link between the provision of music education, participation in music education, and children's performance in other academic subjects. There's a direct link to the performance in maths and physics and other kind of scientific subjects, but also to their ability to learn and participate in team exercises, team building, and their ability to empathize with other people. These are all skills that are, not only acquired through the participation in music, but they are very significantly enhanced by participation in music. So for us as a society, we need to get as many children involved in music as possible.
So as we said before, it's if this is beyond your budget, then Discover is for you, and you just need to fill out. And it's not weird. It's not a kind of scrutinize. We're not like credit checking to check only people with bad credit. Right. It's just if you feel it's beyond your means at the moment, grab a copy of Discover.
But if you can afford a copy, then it's absolutely great. We salute you for also supporting the work of the BBC Symphony Orchestra in their educational outreach, and also to helping to keep the orchestra alive. And we should all be helping to keep orchestras alive. Anything that we can do to promote the work of orchestras. So many orchestras work in our schools, to bring the benefits of music to everybody in society. And it's absolutely vital work. It really is. So thank you, Christian, for this chat. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. As I said, if you haven't watched Christian's part 1 on his channel, then head over there and pick that up as well. If you haven't already subscribed, then click subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to be notified when I put videos up. And one of those for the BBC Symphony Orchestra. Thank you very much. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.